Everybody ready? Good afternoon, maybe good evening. Thanks for joining us today. I realize it's a hectic day for all of you. It's a hectic day for all of us here in the Capitol. The General Assembly is winding up the regular spring session. My understanding is the Senate has adjourned and the House is in the final stages of wrapping things up. A stunningly disappointing General Assembly session this spring. We do not have a balanced budget. We have an attempt to force major tax hikes on the people of Illinois, and we have absolutely no significant reforms and no sincere effort that we can tell yet to achieve significant reforms for the people of Illinois. Our people deserve so much better. Not another phony budget, not another unbalanced budget, and not a continuing effort to force tax hikes. We cannot tax our way out of our problems. We've got to restructure so we can grow. The long-run answer for the families of Illinois is growth. And unless we restructure, we won't grow. And if all we do is raise taxes, we won't grow. Now, I've heard chatter in the last couple days, including this morning, that Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton are about the middle class. You'll probably hear a lot about that in the coming days, I would speculate. Let me be crystal clear. They are not about the middle class. They are about the political class in Illinois. Let us all be crystal clear what's going on here. This is a battle for the future of Illinois, and it pits the political class against the people, the middle class, all income levels. That's what's going on here. The insiders in Springfield who make their money from the government are at war with the people of the state, the taxpayers, the homeowners, the school children and their parents, small business owners. Those are the folks who are suffering in Illinois. And you know what groups are doing well in Illinois? You know who's doing well in Illinois? Politicians and the folks who make their money from the government, lobbyists, special interest groups, government union heads. Those are the folks who are doing great in Illinois. The middle class is suffering in Illinois and has for years under Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton's administration. And they've been the most powerful politicians in this state for a long time. You know who's hurting in Illinois? Truck drivers are hurting in Illinois. Factory workers are hurting in Illinois.
Where do we start that with negotiations?
You know who's hurting? Homeowners in Illinois. You know who's hurting? Plumbers, carpenters. Their jobs have left. We've lost over 300,000 manufacturing jobs the last 15 years. We've lost 97,000 union jobs in the last 10 years. We are destroying the middle class in Illinois under the leadership of Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton. And they don't want to change because the insiders in government fund them. They make their money. Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton make their money from big government. And big government is crushing the state. Since when is it good for the middle class to have higher taxes? How does that help the middle class? How does it help the middle class to have the highest property taxes in America, us in New Jersey? How does it help the middle class to cut school funding repeatedly for so many years? How does it help the middle class to have Illinois be the bottom, dead last in school funding from the state? How does that help the middle class? The middle class is suffering under the politics of Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton, and they control a huge fraction of the legislators here in the General Assembly. They do their bidding. Speaker Madigan pulls the strings, and so many of the legislators dance to his tune. The Speaker Madigan and the politicians he controls are taking the state down, and we've got to change it. And let's be clear, this is not about Democrats versus Republicans. That's not what this is about. This is about good government versus bad government. There are plenty of Democrats in this state, plenty of Democrats who don't want Speaker Madigan's policies, who realize that we need reform, that we need to change direction. There are plenty of Democrats who support major reform. But Speaker Madigan doesn't want reform. He makes his money from the status quo. He makes his money from big, expensive government, and he doesn't want to change. And the insiders in government don't want to change. But we're going to drive a transformation in this state. And our transformation will be bipartisan. Because Democrats have good ideas, Republicans have good ideas. This isn't partisan. This is about taking on the political class to help the middle class and all classes, the people of this state, the working families of this state. That's who's suffering, and we're going to go to battle for them and turn our state around. That's what's at issue here. Now, we're going to have a rough summer. We're going to have a rough coming weeks because these insiders will not give up their power easily. But we will not back down. We will not back down. Now, we'll negotiate in good faith, as we have for months. We will negotiate in good faith every day. I'm a workaholic. I work 24/7. I live here in Springfield. I was very gratified, I'll tell you this. I was very pleased to hear Speaker Madigan this morning say that he will not ask the General Assembly to charge taxpayers in Illinois more to work this summer. That's great. I'd asked for that Friday, and he's honored that and done that. That's terrific. That's a small bit of good news. It's very small, but it is good news. And now starting going forward, starting tomorrow and every day, I look forward to meeting with the General Assembly to negotiate in good faith to get major structural reform as part of a truly balanced budget. And we'll work every day. I'll meet with members of the General Assembly wherever they'd like to meet, here in Springfield, in Decatur, in Peoria, in Chicago, wherever they'd like to meet, and any day of the week. And I look forward to working together to get compromise on a bipartisan basis to transform our government, working for the people again, for the working families of this state, so we can drive value for taxpayers, so we can get a strong, healthy economy that's creating high-quality jobs for everyone who wants to work. And we've got a government that's responsible to the people and working for the voters and the taxpayers, not working for the insiders in the government who make their money from the government. So we look forward to it. I'll see many of you in the coming days, in the coming weeks. I hope we can get some good bipartisan reforms done relatively quickly. But you know what? This may take a while, and we are ready. We're making contingency plans. This could be a while. It could be rough. Change does not come easily. These folks will not give up their power easily. But the people of Illinois deserve it. They deserve dramatic change, and we're going to bring dramatic change to this state.
You said you're making contingency plans. What exactly are those?
Well, it's good leadership and good management to try to anticipate all possible scenarios. We've been doing that for a while, and we will continue. I won't go into the detail of that right this afternoon. We'll keep you informed on that as it unfolds. But we need good planning and we need preparations because this is going to be a difficult process.
If you don't get a budget by the time a new fiscal year begins, does your contingency plan account for that and all of the schools, agencies, et cetera, that depend on state funding?
Well, we are going to prepare for any and all contingencies. But again, I will always be optimistic and hopeful that we can get a truly balanced budget, and we could get major structural reforms so we can grow. And that will be our focus.
President Fullerton says that you can offer him an olive branch in negotiating by pulling these ads that we're expected to see from you attacking Democrats.
I'm not sure where the speculation comes from. I'm not sure what the president's referring to.
He said
you know
that
what,
you told him that you were preparing an ad blitz against him.
Are you? Yeah, what's the deal? Are you?
We're not going to talk and speculate about messaging going forward. What we've got to do is drive major structural reform in the state. If anybody wants to criticize or complain about paid media versus earned media, you can look and see already Speaker Madigan and some of his allies have sent out mailers against some of the legislators who voted against the Madigan agenda. That has already occurred. I haven't heard many of you raising a ruckus about it. You know what? Change is difficult. We are going to make change.
Well, will you be running advertisements starting tomorrow or this month about your agenda or against Democrats? Yes or no?
Again, I'm not going to speculate about actions on those issues in the future. We do need to get our message out to the people. That's why I appreciate you meeting with us here today. I hope all of you will meet with us regularly. I look forward to sitting with many of you in the coming days. The voters of the state, the taxpayers of the state, the working families of Illinois deserve to know what's really going on and what's really at stake here. There have been some bad bills passed in the General Assembly. The voters and the taxpayers, the families need to know that, and they need to know what we stand for. And help us get the message out. We stand for 5 things. We've taken many reforms off the table. We've taken many things off the table in the spirit of compromise. We have taken dozens of things off the table. We're standing now on 5 things. Term limits on these career politicians who make their money from the government. We need public servants who are there for the right reasons, not as a family business, but as a way to give back and help the communities of Illinois. Term limits on all elected officials. I'm term limiting myself. Everyone should have term limits. Number 2, redistricting reform. You know what? We don't have honest general elections in this state. We have a rigged system where the incumbents, Speaker Madigan and the politicians he controls in the General Assembly, they're locked into office. They are locked in. People don't have a real choice in Illinois. You don't actually have to have competing ideas. If you're not with Speaker Madigan, you're on the outs. He controls it. He pulls the puppet strings. We should have bipartisan redistricting reform that gets political partisanship out of general elections and let the districts actually reflect populations, not partisanship. Number 3, property taxes. We need property tax reform, including local control of property taxes and a short-term property tax freeze, followed by local control of property taxes. Property taxes are our number 1 problem. They're crushing our homeowners. They're driving business owners out of the state. It's our worst tax problem. And you know what? We should let local voters control their own property taxes. That's the number 1 thing we can accomplish to transform the state. We also need business regulatory reform, tort reform, and workers' comp reform. Those are the top 2 regulatory issues I've heard as I've traveled the state for the last 2.5 years. Those regulations are driving employers out of the state. We need more employers here. We need to grow our economy. That's how we'll have more jobs. That's how we'll get rising family incomes. That's how we'll grow our middle class. You know what? We've had average family incomes declining for most of the last 10, 12 years in Illinois. We're going the wrong way. Growth and high-quality education is the key. That's what our reforms are about, and we need your help to get that message out to the voters. Help us disseminate that message. Ads become much less relevant if you guys help us get the message out, the truth of what's going on.
We can't start now that we've had 48 hours of rhetoric and a blitz of press conferences today from everyone on both sides of the aisle. Where does the compromise start? How do you guys come together now? You guys are so far apart.
Well, I spoke to the speaker today on the phone, very cordial, very friendly discussion. I spoke to President Cullerton this morning. I met with them on Friday. I had a very good discussion, a couple of discussions with Mayor Emanuel yesterday. The reality is, and I had a meeting today with Leader Radonio and Leader Durkin. We are talking. We will continue to talk. And we'll talk on wherever location, whatever time frame works for everybody. This will be a ongoing, continuous process. And our administration, our staffs, are talking all the time with the staffs of Speaker Madigan, President Cullerton, et cetera.
Working groups then that idea is done. Are we going to focus on leadership talk?
I would think that we'll have leaders talks very frequently, but I also think members of the General Assembly and staffs will also be very involved in the ongoing discussions. Mary Ann? Yes.
They're not for the middle, pretty much just dissing them, and then yet telling us that you're still talking. So it's just all rhetoric. I mean, how do you start a discussion when you just made them look pretty bad?
We started negotiations last November. I mean, this is not.
What you say. You talk to them and yet you blame them.
The truth needs to be out. Speaker Madigan has been the one constant in Illinois politics for more than 30 years. We've been driven into the ditch. You know what? The truth hurts, but you know what? The truth needs to be known. And if anybody wants to hide from the truth, so be it. The truth needs to be known by the people of Illinois.
But has the standoff gotten too personal?
So, wait, you asked one. Did you? You had one too.
But is that what you said to Speaker Michael Madigan on the phone this morning, that he's driving Illinois into a ditch and he's responsible for all these problems? I think that's the question we're having, is you say you're having a cordial conversation with Madigan, but you're out here saying he's the worst thing for Illinois.
The Speaker and I will have constant communication, as we have for a long time. And you know what? He's positioning his message. He's sending mailers. He's talking to you guys to spin things to protect his position and protect his power. He's about protecting his power. I don't, you can't blame him. I mean, he's done a great job. Look at the power he's assimilated. He controls government in Illinois, and that's a fact. And I'm a threat to his power because I'm here to just work for the people. I'm a volunteer. I'm not taking a salary. I'm not taking a pension. I'm doing this because I love Illinois. And I can't be bought, bribed, or intimidated. These special interest groups that have been sending out the mailers and that are going to be attacking me, you watch the attacks coming against me in the next couple of weeks. This ain't tiddlywinks. I mean, you know what? This is about good government taking on bad government. And you know what? The Speaker has been a leader of the problems in Illinois for a long time.
Last question. It's gotten too personal. I mean, he's said your views are extreme. You've compared him to a puppet master. How do you work together when you are attacking each other?
We talk regularly, and we will continue to talk regularly. Thanks very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Governor, I mean, people say that you're out there for corporate side. No.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everyone.